The rain poured heavily as Amara sprinted down the quiet street, her tattered umbrella barely holding up against the storm. She was soaked to the bone, but she had one mission: to make it home before the thunder got worse. As she passed an abandoned stretch near an old bus stop, she noticed a man in a soaked designer suit sitting on the ground, shivering, his phone dead and his clothes muddied. She hesitated for a second but couldn't leave him there. Despite her own struggles, she stepped closer and offered him the shelter of her broken umbrella. The man looked up, his face expressionless at first, but there was something in his eyes, exhaustion mixed with disbelief. Amara asked what happened, and he simply said he had been robbed, stranded, and needed a place to wait out the storm. Against all logic, Amara helped him up and led him to her tiny wooden shack at the edge of town. It was humble, barely big enough for one, but she gave him a dry towel and some leftover soup without asking questions. He watched her with interest as she moved around, noticing how she wore patched-up clothes yet walked with dignity. Her kindness wasn't forced, it was genuine. That night, as the rain crashed against the roof and the power flickered, the billionaire who never spent a day without luxury was humbled by the warmth of a poor girl's generosity. And she, unaware of who he really was, just saw a stranger in need. The next morning, Amara found the stranger sitting outside, drying his shoes under the rising sun. He introduced himself simply as Jay, avoiding any hints about his real identity. She didn't press, she was used to people hiding things. Jay offered to pay her for the help, but she shook her head, saying she didn't do it for money. That response startled him. It had been years since anyone helped him without expecting something in return. As days passed, Jay stayed longer than he initially planned. He claimed he needed to wait for someone to wire him money. Amara, though suspicious, didn't ask too many questions. She liked his calm nature and the way he helped her fix the leaking roof and repaint the worn-out walls. The once dull shack started to feel like home again, but not just because of the repairs. There was laughter now, shared meals, and late-night conversations that left them both longing for more. Meanwhile, Jay secretly contacted his assistant, instructing him to keep his location private. He wasn't ready to go back. Something about Amara made him want to live in her world for a while longer. For the first time, he felt invisible, not as a billionaire, but just a man. And that feeling brought peace he never knew he needed. One afternoon, Jay joined Amara at the market where she sold handmade bracelets and beaded necklaces. She had been doing it since her mother passed, and it barely brought enough to eat. Jay noticed how the vendors greeted her warmly despite her poverty. She was loved, respected, and that intrigued him even more. He offered to help her arrange the items, and their stall attracted more customers than usual, thanks to Jay's charming smile and salesmanship. While Jay was learning to bargain with customers, Amara watched him closely. She couldn't shake off the feeling that he wasn't an ordinary man. His mannerisms, his speech, and even the way he folded napkins screamed wealth and class. But then again, she'd seen rich people treat others badly. Jay was different, gentle, respectful, and attentive. Maybe he was once rich and had fallen on hard times? Jay, on the other hand, noticed a man taking pictures of them from afar. His instincts kicked in. Was it the paparazzi or someone from his company? He quickly brushed it off, but the idea that his secret life might come to light began to trouble him. For now, he wanted to keep Amara in the dark, because if she found out who he really was, she might treat him differently. And he couldn't bear that. A week later, Jay disappeared early in the morning without a word. Amara panicked. She searched everywhere: market, nearby roads, even the small clinic he once visited when he had a cold. Nothing. She was heartbroken. How could someone she trusted just vanish? Her mind raced through all the possible scenarios. Had he been pretending? Was she just a game to him? But later that evening, Jay returned with a basket full of groceries, a brand new kettle, and a small generator. Amara stood frozen, unsure whether to hug him or slap him. I had to sort out some things, he explained vaguely. She didn't ask more. She was just glad he was back. That night, they cooked together with actual light for the first time. Their laughter filled the room, and for a moment, it felt like a dream neither wanted to wake from. But deep down, Jay knew this bubble would burst soon. His assistant had found him and begged him to return. The board was panicking. Rumors were spreading. And worst of all, his fiancée, yes, the one he had been trying to avoid, had just arrived in town searching for him. Jay's mind was a mess. Seeing Amara laugh at one of his silly jokes while chopping vegetables made his chest ache. He wasn't supposed to fall for her. He had a life elsewhere, a powerful one, filled with responsibilities and expectations. But here he was, choosing beans and corn with her instead of luxury cars and board meetings. And the worst part? He didn't regret it. Not one bit. Amara noticed he was unusually quiet that night. "You okay?" she asked softly. Jay forced a smile and nodded, but she wasn't convinced. Her heart told her he was hiding something, but her brain reminded her that he was still a stranger. A stranger who made her feel things she never thought she could feel. Still, she didn't press. She'd learned that the people who stay often carry the deepest scars. The following morning, a black SUV parked discreetly on the edge of the market. Inside was Vanessa, Jay's fiancée. She wore dark sunglasses and held a photograph of him on her phone, asking around quietly. She was getting close. Too close. And Jay had no idea how fast his world was about to collide. Amara and Jay sat on a bench near the river, sharing roasted plantains and laughing at a story he made up about a talking goat. The peace was short-lived. A call came in, and Jay excused himself. His assistant's voice was frantic. "She's here. Vanessa's looking for you." Jay's heart skipped. He ended the call and returned to Amara, trying to act normal, but his hands trembled slightly. Later that evening, Vanessa showed up at the market square, flashing Jay's photo around. Amara overheard a vendor mention the guy who helps Amara at the jewelry stand. Alarm bells rang in her head, but she said nothing. Instead, she quietly followed Vanessa to see who she really was. One glance at the woman's outfit, car, and demeanor told Amara everything. This wasn't just a lost friend. This was someone rich, important, and searching for Jay. Back at home, Amara confronted Jay. "Someone's looking for you," she said quietly. Jay looked into her eyes and saw the disappointment he feared. He took a deep breath, ready to tell her the truth, but Amara walked out before he could speak. And this time, she didn't look back. Jay didn't sleep that night. He sat outside Amara's shack, waiting for the sun to rise and for her anger to fade. When she finally returned at dawn, her eyes were puffy, and her silence louder than any scream. "I'm sorry," he began. "My name isn't just Jay. I'm a billionaire. And that woman is my fiancée. Or, she was. I ran away from that life because I couldn't breathe in it anymore." Amara didn't say a word. Her face was unreadable. The betrayal wasn't about money, it was about trust. "So I was just a break from your golden life? Something different to try before you go back to champagne and private jets?" Jay stood there, unable to defend himself. How could he explain that she wasn't a break? She had become his entire world. He left that morning, packed his things, got into a black car that appeared like a shadow, and disappeared without saying goodbye. Amara cried for the first time in years. Not because she lost someone rich, but because she had lost someone real. Someone who made her feel seen. Back in his mansion, Jay couldn't think. His staff welcomed him like a lost king, but all he felt was emptiness. Vanessa was there, waiting with open arms and 1,000 questions. Where were you? Do you know the chaos you caused? He looked at her, a woman he once planned to marry, and felt nothing. No spark. No connection. Just noise. Jay called off the engagement that night. Vanessa threw a fit, threatening to ruin his image, but he didn't care. He had already lost the only thing that mattered. In the days that followed, he tried calling Amara, sending messages, even sending people to the market to check on her, but she vanished. Her stall was empty. Her neighbors said she left without saying where she was going. Desperate, Jay started searching town after town. He had everything: money, influence, power, but not the one thing he truly wanted. Amara. He finally understood what people meant when they said the heart wants what it wants, no matter the price. Amara had moved to another village, far from memories and markets. She took a job cleaning a small motel and tried to bury her feelings in detergent in buckets. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw Jay's face. His laugh, his kindness, his lies. She didn't know what to believe anymore. Could someone that rich really have loved someone like her? One rainy day, while scrubbing floors, Amara overheard two guests talking. You hear about the billionaire? He's been going around town to town looking for some girl who saved him in the rain. Her heart skipped. Could it be? Her name wasn't mentioned, but deep down, she knew. It had to be him. But even if he found her, what then? Would his world ever accept someone like her? Meanwhile, Jay's team had traced her to the area. He arrived late that night and asked around, showing photos to anyone who would listen. At last, a young boy at the shop whispered, I think she cleans the motel across the street. Jay didn't wait. He ran. Jay barged into the motel lobby, breathless, eyes wild. The receptionist blinked, confused. Sir, do you have a reservation? He shook his head and whispered, I'm looking for someone. Moments later, he spotted her, Amara, coming out of the laundry room with wet sheets in hand. She froze. Their eyes locked. Time stood still. I'm sorry, Jay said, stepping forward. I should have told you everything from the start. But I didn't want you to see my money. I wanted you to see me. Amara looked away, her hands trembling. I saw you. And I lost you. Why are you here now, Jay? To fix your conscience? No, he replied firmly. To fix my heart. Because it doesn't beat right without you. Silence filled the lobby. Then, slowly, she walked past him. But instead of leaving, she turned and whispered, let's talk. They sat outside under the dim motel lights, the air heavy with emotions. Jay explained everything, his family's expectations, his runaway moment in the rain, and how meeting Amara changed everything. You made me feel human, he said softly, not like a product everyone wanted to buy or shape. Amara listened quietly, her eyes unreadable. I'm not asking for forgiveness right now, Jay continued. I just want a chance. A real one. Let me start again, with truth this time. Amara looked at him, heart torn. Part of her wanted to run into his arms, but the other part whispered, what if he disappears again? She had survived too many disappointments already. I don't need your money, Jay, she said finally. But I do need your honesty. Jay nodded. Then come with me. Not to the mansion. Not to a palace. Just somewhere we can be us, no lies, no shadows. She hesitated, then slowly nodded. And just like that, a second chance began. Jay found a small, quiet place on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just peace. A little house with 2 rooms, a garden, and no staff. Amara moved in after a week, not because he begged, but because she saw the change in him. He was learning to cook, doing his own laundry, and showing her the kind of man he wanted to be, not for the world, but for her. They spent lazy afternoons planting flowers, taking long walks, and laughing over burned dinners. Slowly, Amara let her walls fall, and Jay earned every brick. He didn't flash wealth or try to impress her with things, he showed up every day, real and raw. And in return, she showed him a world of love he never knew existed. But their peace didn't last long. Words started spreading again. A few photos leaked, Jay in a village, holding hands with a mystery girl. Social media went wild. Reporters began sniffing around, and soon, the peace they fought for started slipping away. Paparazzi camped near their gate. Cameras flashed from bushes, and drones buzzed overhead. Amara was terrified. This is exactly why I didn't want to be part of your world, she snapped one evening. Jay wrapped his arms around her. Then let's leave it. You pick the place, I'll follow. I mean it. They packed up and left that night, leaving behind the cozy house. This time, Amara chose a fishing village by the sea. Nobody cared about billionaires there, just fish, boats, and sun. Jay took up fishing, and Amara helped women at the market clean seafood. They were happy again. But far away, Jay's family wasn't. His father was furious, and Vanessa had become a public darling after the breakup. The media twisted the story, billionaire dumps fiancé for mysterious village girl. A storm was brewing, and it was heading straight for them. Jay's father sent his most trusted aide to the fishing village. A tall, stern man in a suit who didn't blink twice before barging into their small wooden home. Your father demands your return, he said coldly. There's an emergency with the company. You're needed. Jay sighed. He knew this day would come. I'll go, Jay said. But only for a few days. Amara grabbed his hand. Are you sure? He nodded. I have to face them. But I'll come back. I promise. That night, they shared a quiet moment by the beach, the waves crashing gently at their feet. Whatever happens, wait for me, he whispered. Amara didn't speak. She just held him tighter. Jay left at dawn. And Amara stood on the shore, watching the boat carry him away. She felt the same fear creeping back in. But this time, she had hope. Because he didn't run away, he walked toward the storm. Back in the city, Jay was met with chaos. The company was in trouble, and investors were losing faith. His father tried to guilt-trip him, reminding him of his legacy. You're my only son, he shouted. You don't get to play house with a girl from the streets while this empire falls apart. Jay stood firm. I'll help. But after this is over, I'm going back. Don't expect me to live in a prison again. His father scoffed. That girl will never survive our world. Jay looked him dead in the eyes. Then I'll live in hers. Meanwhile, Amara waited. Days turned into a week. She told herself to be strong. But when another week passed with no word, her faith wavered. Then, one morning, a man arrived at the village. Not Jay, but his father. Jay's father came dressed in white, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. He found Amara gutting fish by the shore. We need to talk, he said. Amara looked at him warily. About Jay? He nodded. He's not coming back. Her heart dropped. Why? He chose the company. Chose responsibility. He said, to tell you goodbye. Amara's hands trembled, knife slipping into the sand. She couldn't speak. Forget him, the man continued. You don't belong in our world. And with that, he left, like a villain closing a final chapter. Amara collapsed into the sand, tears falling freely. She had believed him. Believed in the dream they built together. But now, all she had left was silence. Pain returned like an old friend, wrapping around her chest and squeezing tight. Back in the city, Jay was unaware of what his father had done. He worked day and night, fixing what was broken. Every time he tried to call Amara, the number didn't go through. He didn't know her heart was already breaking. Weeks passed. Amara stayed quiet. She buried herself in work, refusing to speak of Jay. Her heart had learned its lesson. Dreams don't come true for people like her. But fate wasn't finished yet. One day, while walking through the village, she spotted a boy watching something on his phone. It was a video. Jay was on the news, standing in front of a crowd, addressing his company. I owe everything to one person, he said. She found me in the rain when no one else would. She saved me. And I lost her. Amara, if you're watching this. I'm coming back. Her heart stopped. She grabbed the phone. Rewound. Played it again. It was him. Still looking for her. Still in love. In that moment, hope bloomed once more. She knew what she had to do. Amara boarded a crowded bus to the city. She had only enough money for one trip and faith in her heart. She arrived covered in dust, tired, and nervous. But she didn't stop. She asked around until someone recognized Jay's mansion. Big gates, lots of guards, they said. She nodded. That had to be it. She walked all the way there. The guards laughed at her, refused to let her in. Do you even know who lives here? One sneered. Yes, she replied firmly. And he knows me too. They didn't believe her. One even mocked her sandals. But Amara didn't move. Meanwhile, inside, Jay sat in his office, staring at a photo of them by the sea. Then he heard the commotion outside. Curious, he stepped out and saw her. Dusty, tired, but glowing. His heart nearly burst. Jay didn't wait. He ran past the guards and straight to her, pulling Amara into his arms as if his life depended on it. You came, he whispered, barely able to believe it. She was trembling, crying, trying to form words, but nothing made sense in that moment except their embrace. I thought you forgot me, she said through tears. Your father told me. Jay pulled back, his expression darkening. My father what? She explained everything, the visit, the lies, the goodbye. Jay's fists clenched. He did that to push you away. I never said goodbye. I never stopped trying to reach you. Amara nodded. I know now. That's why I came. Jay turned to the guards. From now on, she's the only person who can walk through these gates without question. Understand? They nodded nervously. The house that once felt cold and empty was now alive again, filled with warmth, truth, and something stronger than money, love. Jay confronted his father the next morning, not as a scared son, but as a man in love. You crossed the line, he said. She's the only thing that's ever made me feel alive. If you ever try to touch her life again, I'll walk away from this company forever. His father was silent for a long time before finally speaking. Then you're willing to throw it all away for her? Jay didn't flinch. I already did. And I'd do it again. For once, the old man saw something in Jay's eyes that silenced him, purpose. Not rebellion. Not immaturity. Purpose. Meanwhile, Amara explored the mansion cautiously. Everything was big, polished, and foreign. But Jay stayed by her side, turning every cold hallway into a space of comfort. He showed her the kitchen, where they cooked together. The balcony, where they stargazed. And slowly, her fear of not belonging began to fade. But their peace was once again threatened, this time by Vanessa. She returned, not with sorrow, but with vengeance. You embarrassed me, she told Jay, barging into his office in a designer dress and red lips. And now, you'll pay for it. Jay leaned back, unbothered. Do your worst. Vanessa smirked. Oh, I already started. Remember those business documents you signed before the engagement? I own part of your holdings. And I'm going to destroy everything with it. Jay's smile faded. She had planned this all along. A slow, silent attack from within. But Jay wasn't the only one with fight in him anymore. Amara, now more confident, listened quietly to the threats. Later that night, she asked, Do you trust me? He nodded without hesitation. Then let me help. And for the first time, they prepared to fight back, together. Amara began learning. Not business or boardroom politics, but how to outsmart someone like Vanessa. She watched interviews, read files, and asked questions. She didn't want to be just the girl who helped a billionaire in the rain, she wanted to be his strength in the storm. Vanessa launched her attack at a major investor meeting, leaking documents, twisting narratives, trying to ruin Jay's credibility. But Amara walked into that meeting beside Jay, in a simple dress and braided hair, and told the truth. I may not be from your world, she said, but I know the truth when I see it. Jay's only crime was loving the wrong person, until now. Her words struck. Investors murmured. People saw Vanessa for what she was, a manipulative ex-fiancée with revenge in her heart. Jay stood proudly beside Amara, knowing she had not just saved him again, but proved herself in front of wolves. The aftermath of the meeting shocked everyone. Vanessa's schemes were exposed, and her shares were frozen pending investigation. Jay took back control of his company, not with power, but with integrity. Amara's speech trended online. People began to admire the mystery girl who once gutted fish by the shore. Reporters camped outside the mansion again, but this time, they weren't looking for scandal. They wanted to know about her. Who she was. where she came from. But Jay and Amara declined every interview. Let them wonder, Jay said. The best parts of our story belong to us. Still, pressure mounted. Rumors swirled about an engagement. But Jay hadn't proposed, not yet. Not because he didn't want to, but because he wanted it to be perfect. Amara wasn't just a girl from nowhere anymore. She was the woman who turned his life upside down. And now, he was ready to give her everything. Jay planned a quiet day for just the two of them. No press, no suits, just love. He took Amara to the place where it all began, under the bus stop where she found him soaked in the rain. "This is where I found my life," he said. Amara laughed. "You looked like a lost puppy." He knelt down there, no diamond, no crowd, just rain, memories, and a small gold ring he had carried for weeks. "Amara, you saved me. Not just that night, but every day after. Will you be my forever?" She gasped, not from shock, but from overwhelming joy. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times, yes. Rain poured gently around them, as if the skies were blessing their love. They didn't rush home or call friends. They just stood there, soaked again, just like the first night, but this time, together. Wedding plans started, and so did the chaos. Everyone wanted a piece of the story. Designers, socialites, influencers, all offering to help. But Jay and Amara kept it simple. No lavish hall. No famous faces. Just close friends, good food, and real love. But the night before the wedding, a letter arrived at their door. No return address. Just Amara's name. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside were photos of her mother. Photos she had never seen. And a message, "Come alone if you want to know the truth about your past." She hid the letter, unsure what it meant. Her mother had vanished when she was a child. Was this a trick? Or something deeper? She didn't want to ruin the wedding, but part of her couldn't ignore it. That night, she slipped out quietly, leaving Jay asleep, unaware that a new twist was about to unfold. Amara followed the letter's instructions, her heart pounding. The address led her to an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. She hesitated before stepping inside, the creaking door sending chills down her spine. A woman stood in the dim light, her face partially hidden by a scarf. "You came," she said in a low voice. Amara stepped closer, her breath catching. The woman pulled down her scarf, revealing a face Amara barely remembered but had longed to see. "Mama?" she whispered. Tears welled up as the woman nodded. "I never meant to leave you," her mother said, reaching for her. "I was forced to disappear, for your safety." Amara's mind swirled with questions, but before she could ask anything, footsteps echoed behind her. Someone else was there, and they weren't friendly. Before Amara could react, strong hands grabbed her from behind. "You shouldn't have come here," a rough voice growled. Her mother screamed, trying to fight, but another man held her back. Amara struggled, kicking and thrashing. "Who are you?" she yelled. "The people who made sure your mother disappeared," the man sneered. "And now, we'll make sure you do too." He pulled out a phone and dialed a number. "We have her. What should we do?" Back at the mansion, Jay woke to find Amara missing. His heart clenched with panic. He noticed a piece of paper under her pillow, the letter. Without wasting a second, he grabbed his keys and sped off into the night, his mind racing with fear. He wasn't about to lose the love of his life, not now. Jay arrived just in time. Bursting into the warehouse, he saw Amara being dragged toward a car. His rage ignited. Let her go. His voice was deadly calm. The men turned, laughing at his demand, until they recognized him. "You're making a mistake," Jay warned. "You know who I am. You know what I can do." The men hesitated. Jay didn't just have money, he had power. "Walk away now," he said, taking a step forward. "Or deal with the consequences." One of the men cursed under his breath. "Let's go," he muttered, shoving Amara away. Jay caught her just in time, holding her tight. "Are you okay?" he whispered. She nodded, clinging to him. He turned to her mother. "You're coming with us." And with that, they left, leaving the past behind, but not forgotten. Back at the mansion, Amara sat beside her mother, trying to make sense of everything. "Why did they take you?" she asked softly. Her mother sighed. "Because of your father." Amara's breath caught. "My father?" He was powerful, like Jay. But he made enemies. When he disappeared, they came for me next. Amara's head spun. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her mother took her hands. "I wanted to, but I was protecting you. They only let me live because they thought you had no connection to me anymore. I had to stay away." Jay listened quietly, then placed a hand on Amara's shoulder. "No one will ever hurt you again. I swear it." Amara looked at him, her heart full. "I believe you." But there was still one thing left to do. Their wedding. The wedding was simple, beautiful, and filled with love. Amara walked down the aisle in a dress that wasn't designed by a famous name, but it was perfect. Jay stood at the altar, his eyes shining with emotions he had never felt before. "You were the girl who found me in the rain," Jay said, his voice thick with love. "And today, I promise to be your shelter forever." Amara smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "And you were the man I saved that night, but in truth, you saved me too. You showed me love, trust, and a future I never imagined. I choose you, Jay. Today and always." As they kissed, the world faded. No wealth, no past, no pain, just them. The poor girl and the billionaire, proving that love was the only thing that truly mattered.
That's the end of the story. What did you learn about the story? Please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.